Welcome to another edition of the Sports Guys. I'm Mesabi Daily News Sports Editor Jim Ramses here with staff writer Mike Hautemaki, and we got another exciting week of basketball playoffs. It's getting to section tournaments and section championships tonight, so it's been some good basketball. I know girls basketball section 7A championship tonight, Mount Iron Buell and Northwoods should be quite a matchup. Mike was at the semifinal game when Northwoods advanced to the championship. They looked pretty good that night.
Yeah, I mean, they got off to a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a bad start, just a slow start. I think it was, they had a 1-point lead at one point early in the game. It was 11-10. But from that point on, they dominated.
Okay.
Outscored them 30-7 the rest of the first half, and McGregor wasn't able to do a whole lot in the second half until Northwoods subbed a bunch of players in the last few minutes. So, I don't know. Mount Iron Buell and Northwoods, it was the matchup everyone obviously wanted to see in the finals.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
And Northwoods has proven during the regular season that they can beat them. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and Mount Iron Buell's looking good. They took care of Cromwell the other night. They pretty dominant too. Their pressure defense just thoroughly disrupted Cromwell, and they advanced with no trouble. So I'm just looking back to the game they lost. It was only 52-50. They lost to Northwoods earlier, and it was on the road. And one of their players was just they had just lost one of their players to an injury. So I'm kind of, I guess, thinking MIB is going to show up pretty strong.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah Overby was a significant loss for them at that point.
Right.
But it's been, what, 6 weeks? 7 weeks since then? So
yeah, at least.
They've learned how to play without her, and depth has been one of their strongest points during these last few years as they've gone to the state tournament. So that could end up being the difference.
Yeah, it should be good. I think it's toss-up, I've been saying this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win. It could go either way.
No predictions?
Mount Iron's been there before, so I guess I would have to maybe give them the edge. But it's going to be it should be a close game. I'm going to say 5 points or less.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably agree. It's hard to say otherwise. Those are some quality teams.
Earlier this week, we had the boys basketball tournaments get into full swing. The word of the day for the Section 7A tournament on Thursday was upset. When all was said and done, you had a number 1 seed, a number 2 seed, and 2 number 3 seeds almost go down. Or they did go down, I'm sorry. And the other number 2 seed, Ely, was pushed to the limit by Mesabi Academy. They only won their game by 5 points. So the remaining bracket looks a little weird.
Yeah, it truly does. MIB's on one side. MIB's a number 4 seed, and they're the top team on that side of the bracket. So it'll be interesting when they get if they can make it to the final. They'll likely go up against possibly Lakeview Christian or Ely, the number 1 and number 2 seeds. So it could be a tough contest for them. You never know, but could be very tough. I was at the Ely and Mesabi Academy game last night. Mesabi Academy, you just couldn't rule them out. They were just throwing up a lot of threes, and Chasman Macbeth is their star player. He was just throwing them up 3-pointers from way downtown and making some and not making others. And Ely, they got a very solid team inside and out, but some of their shots weren't going in, so it allowed Mesabi Academy to hang around and possibly win. So it was quite interesting.
Mm-hmm. As long as Lakeview Christian is still standing, I think you would probably have to consider them the favorite, just because of the Broman brothers, Anders and Bjorn. But I don't know. It could be interesting this next week or so.
Yeah, I'd like to see Ely and Lakeview Christian play, just
to
see how they stack up if they put a good game together.
They played once during the regular season. LCA won that one, but Ely actually had the lead at half. I don't know what happened in the the second half. They just gave the game away. But if they can put two solid halves together,
Yeah.
who knows what'll happen. So
Also in the Section 7 AA, Virginia boys and Eveleth Gilbert boys are going to go at it for the third time this season in the quarterfinals down at UMD. Should be a pretty good contest. Virginia's kind of had its way with them this year. They won both games. So I'm kind of, I guess, anxious to see if Eveleth Gilbert can actually give them a contest.
yeah, I think one big key will be how they handle Virginia's defense.
Mm-hmm.
I know late in the year they had, or actually a couple of times I saw them play this year, they had some problems with the press.
Yeah.
And just ended up turning the ball over, and Virginia's good at that. They always have been with Rich Odell at the helm.
Yeah. And if they get the turnovers, then you get the fast break layups from there and on and on.
Yeah.
But still anxious to see it. Should be a good contest.
Yep. The state boys hockey tournament is going on right now down in the Twin Cities, and the single A bracket is shaping up to be could be a decent final. We had Hermantown advance today with a overtime victory over Breck. They won 4-3, and they will meet St. Thomas Academy
Yep.
in the final. They played last year too, didn't they? I think St. Thomas beat them like 6-1 or something.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So St. Thomas is obviously the favorite again. They've been steamrolling their opponents in the tournament so far. They won their first game 12-0 over St. Cloud Apollo, and they won again today over East Grand Forks 11-0. The Twitterverse has been a little fired up about that. For several years, people have been crying for St. Thomas Academy to move up to AA, and it sounds like next year they are finally going to agree to do that.
Okay.
The move is long overdue. They've won 4 of the last 7 state championships, I think.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't. You look at some of the games they've had at the state tournament, they haven't really been challenging themselves. So, move up to AA should be good for them, and we'll see how they handle themselves against those bigger schools next year.
Yeah, give them some competition next year.
Yeah.
We also had a fairly big college basketball game with the Minnesota Gophers traveling to Nebraska to take on the Cornhuskers. Unfortunately, the Gophers lost. Cornhuskers got to storm the court, which was a big controversial topic recently, and but just kind of an up and down season for the Gophers, and just seems like they're underachieving. So it's kind of a disappointing overall. A lot of talk about the coach Tubby Smith. You know, what if he should get an extension, and I don't know what you think about that, Mike.
He already did get an extension, which is the unfortunate thing.
Okay.
For some reason, the new AD at the school, Norwood Teague, agreed to an extension that makes it more difficult for him to fire Tubby.
Oh, great.
Financially. I think his buyout increased. So that probably loosened the noose around Tubby's neck a little bit. But I don't know, they've just been way too much of a Jekyll and Hyde team this year.
Yeah.
They were coming off, obviously, the big win over Nebraska, who was the #1 team in the country at the time, and then they went on to clobber Penn State by 29, I think it was, 29 points. And you look at I wasn't able to see the Nebraska game, but you look at the box score, and a lot of things just didn't make any sense. He had Andre Ingram and Julian Welch both in the starting lineup. Could have been because they're both seniors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe that was the reason he chose to start them. And maybe they look good in the Penn State game. I don't know. But aside from that, you had Joe Coleman, Rodney Williams, and a third guy that escapes me at the moment. I should have looked it up.
Yeah.
But 3 of their main players did not score a single point against Nebraska, and I just don't know how that happens.
Yeah, you can't have that.
Yeah.
So are you going to be picking them in your bracket?
No.
No,
No.
not at all.
If they still manage to make it into the tournament, it would not shock me at all if they got knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, by a lower seed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be embarrassing.
I don't know. It's just they're a very difficult team to figure out. And I'm not a basketball player. I've never played the game. And I could not sit down and watch film and diagram an offense, tell you what a team is doing right and what they're doing wrong. But the one thing that I've heard all season long is that the Gophers on offense just stand around and do nothing.
Okay. We know that's not good.
No.
That's not right.
I mean, how do you expect to win games that way? And they still have not been able to figure out how to attack and score against a zone defense. Nebraska pulled out the zone defense against them, and they were clueless. They didn't know how to beat it.
And that's where Tubby should come in and straighten them out on those things.
Yeah, I mean, they've had an entire season to figure it out. They haven't been able to. So, just things like that. In the tournament, obviously, a team that might not be favored to beat them, what do you think they're going to do?
Yeah.
Pull out the zone defense.
That's right. Why not? It worked before.
Yeah, so I don't expect them to go very far, but who knows, maybe they'll get on a run, start playing like they did against Indiana.
Yeah, maybe they'll figure this is crunch time and they'll get going.
Yeah, we'll see.
That should do it for another edition of the Sports Guys. You can follow us both of us on Twitter at Houts81, and myself is JimRom2012. And you can also read our stories on VirginiaMN.com and in the daily Mesabi Daily News.